All right. Good morning, FFA. Hey, are you guys ready to jumpstart this midweek call? We're going to talk about building confidence as an agent. So, if you're a brand new agent, maybe you're an experienced agent, and this is something that you struggle with. It's something that all agents at some point in their career struggle with. So, I'm going to do a deep dive with you guys on how to feel more confident, how to be more confident, and ultimately what that's going to lead to is you feeling more fulfilled in this job, feeling more successful, feeling like this job is much easier for you as you go out there every single day. So that's what we're going to jump into on today's training call. We are less than like a couple of days away from flying out to Cancun for all of you guys that won the trip. Not won, earned the trip last year. So couldn't be more excited to get to spend some time with you guys next week. It's crazy to think it's already here. I've been looking forward to Scotland so much that I forgot we're going to Cancun here in July for everybody that earned it last year. So couldn't be more excited. If you're just getting started with us, though, the qualifications for Scotland are so obtainable for you to hit. So my goal is that everybody in the agency gets to go to Scotland coming up here next year for this year's incentive trip. So Cancun winners, can't wait to spend some time with you guys next week. Everybody so far this week, I see you in WhatsApp. I see you participating. I see you out there hustling and super appreciative of you guys and all the momentum that you guys are building here at FFA. It's so energetic and exciting to see the new records that continue to be broken. So let's jump into today's call. Okay. What a perfect verse to talk about confidence, but it's Jeremiah 17 verse 7. It says, the man who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is the Lord, is blessed. So this would lead me to my first question for you guys as we dive into this topic of confidence in your career is, where's your confidence coming from? See, when I was a brand new agent, I kind of made the mistake, right, of feeling not confident. And then I realized that's not where my confidence comes from. My confidence doesn't come from me, right? My confidence should come from me knowing that if I just show up, right, he's going to give me the strength. I'm a firm believer that if you have been called to do something, you've already been equipped with everything that you need to accomplish that task, right? And so I remember being a brand new agent, never doing anything in sales before, right? Marine to being a general contractor, building houses doesn't really correlate with selling insurance, right? So I had like no confidence coming into this job, but I put my confidence in him, knowing that if I was being called to do this, he was going to equip me with the opportunities and the learning processes to gain that confidence. So think about this verse, guys. Sometimes you're out there, you got the whole weight of the world on your shoulders, and it really shouldn't be. So think about that verse. The man who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is the Lord, is blessed. Let's talk about, all right, the number one tip that I would give you guys if you're an agent right now trying to build your confidence up in this career. All right, that's practice with a purpose. Okay, this is the first step. Guys, nobody wakes up, right, and becomes a Major League Baseball player. All right, nobody wakes up and becomes the top realtor in the country. Nobody wakes up and becomes, you name it, all right, the Tom Brady of the NFL, right? Practice with purpose is what leads to those people being successful. I promise you, any agent that you see in our WhatsApp chat that is dropping big numbers, if you guys listen to Monday's call with Julie and Becky, who did over $25,000 last week, I promise you at some point in time, they did not know what they were doing, right? They were brand new, just like you might be right now. And so every day that you guys wake up and you get leads and you're calling the leads or you're going to the leads' houses and door knocking, right? There's a purpose behind that. It builds your confidence up. So when you're out there, guys, don't be expecting the leads to answer the door and be like, yeah, I wanted life insurance. That's why I filled this out. Like, this is going to be so easy. It is never going to be like that. You have to be out there practicing with purpose, overcoming the objections, learning what works, what doesn't work, learning how to deal with different personality types, learning people skills, right? Every single day is practice for you. It's like a game. All right. Think back if you ever played sports in school, you might have had good days, good games, and bad games, right? You might have had good practices and bad practices. This is no different. All right, guys, we're just practicing through this crazy thing that we call life. And so, if you want to build confidence, the more you practice with that purpose of going out there with the attitude of, yeah, okay, I might get told no, but what can I learn from that no? Right? Miss Betty answered the door. She was hot. She's trying to swat me away with the broomstick, right? Hot tempered, mad at me. How could I have diffused that situation differently and got into a presentation, right? So practicing with a purpose is key. Guys, if you're out there in the field and let's just say you might struggle with your confidence level right now, every time you get told no, I want you to go to WhatsApp and post in the agency chat, what did the lead tell you that kicked you away, right? Or if you're doing telesales and you couldn't close it, what was the objection? Just drop it in the chat, right? Hey guys, this is what this person said. How would you handle it? And you're going to get responses from experienced agents that have dealt with that can teach you how to overcome that. But you got to have a purpose, right? Don't make the same mistake every single day. All right, guys, if you're just going out there every day and you're getting beat up and you're like a hermit and you don't ever ask for help, you don't ever go to the agency chat and ask for help in there, or guidance or advice, you're going to keep getting the same. You're not out there with a purpose, right? You're never going to build your confidence level up. So that's number one, is every day you have a purpose, right? And your purpose is to get better than you were the day before. All right, let's talk about number two. Confidence starts with competence. Guys, there's some things in this career that you can control, and there's some things that you just cannot control. And if you want to become frustrated very quickly, all right, as a business owner, start focusing on the things you can't control and try to control them. It just doesn't work, right? It's like trying to swim against the current. All right, if you're in a river, it doesn't pan out very well, right? If you're trying to swim against the current. So think about what you can control, what you can't control, and be competent in the things you can control. If you can become competent in what is in your power to control, what God has given you to be able to utilize, your confidence level will go up. All right, let's talk about what can we be competent in to build confidence. Number one is your approach. Whether it's on the phone or at the door, it should sound the exact same every single time. If you shadow me, all right, if you've ever shadowed me or if we go out in the field today, you'll notice that I say the same exact thing at the door, every single door. Doesn't matter what the house looks like, where I'm working at. If I'm working in Florida, if I'm working in North Carolina, if I'm working in Georgia or Alabama, it doesn't matter. My door approach is exactly the same. My phone approach, exactly the same. All right. So be competent in your approach. It doesn't matter if it's your very first day as an agent. All right. If you've done the training, you've worked with your coach, you've got trained up. When you go out there on your own, you should be competent in what you're saying at the door. Like that's something you can control. So if you don't know the door approach verbatim, you don't have that thing memorized or your phone approach memorized, fix it, right? Because your confidence is going to get much better. Same thing with the presentation. Guys, confidence in that presentation closes deals for you no matter who you're sitting with. It takes all of the pressure off of you and puts it on those systems. Those systems are there for a reason, right? So be competent in that. Be competent in the carrier portals. All right, there is nothing worse, and I'm preaching from experience here. There's nothing worse than, you do the presentation, you do the call to close, you got the deal locked down, and then you don't know how to do the e-app, right? Like, you don't know how to log in. You don't know what your password is. You got to sit there and reset your password 17 times, and they're texting you a code to your phone to try to log in, and your cell service is bad and it's slow. It's just a nightmare, right? So be competent in your technology, in your passwords, in your agent portals, and how to navigate the e-apps and what products are right? There's nothing worse than writing an app and getting halfway through it just to realize you did the wrong one instead of the one that your coach told you to do. You just spent 30 minutes filling out the lifetime whole life plan with Transamerica versus the final expense one, right? I'm guilty with doing that. So confidence starts with competence, guys. Be competent in the few things, right, that are actually in your control. All right. That's key to building up confidence as an agent and finding success out there in the field or on the phones. Thirdly, relying on the system. Guys, this opportunity, right? Our sales presentation, everything that we do is based off of years of what works and what doesn't work. And don't try to reinvent the wheel. Of course, make it your own, right? Have your personality in your presentation. But if you're just out there winging it, like you're not following the script, if you're dialing and the lead finally answers the phone and you don't have your telesales script like mapped out and you're following that thing, you're gonna fail. You're not gonna be confident, right? And so putting the pressure on the system and not on you is key in gaining your confidence. And along with this comes putting pressure on the numbers and not yourself. I remember being brand new, first week, like, doing this job. I was not confident at all. I didn't know anything about life insurance. I didn't know anything about the carriers. I knew just enough that I passed the exam. And I remember going out there in the field, like the very first day, right? And I just put pressure on the numbers. I figured, hey, if I talk to 30 people at a door, surely one of them is going to tell me they want life insurance. Like 1 out of 30, I would think is pretty good odds. So I don't even care if I don't know the door approach. I'm just going to go talk to 30 people and see which one bites. And I got told no at my first 9 doors. Like I literally walked down the street, weren't even working leads, walked down the street, knocked on the door and did a door approach that I didn't even know what I said. Got told no 9 times. On the 10th door, I go to knock on this lady's door. Her like, she had a storm door. The main door was wide open. Before I could even knock on it, she says, hey, come on in. And boom, presentation. Didn't even ask, I didn't even have to do a door approach, right? I put pressure on the numbers and not on me, right? What would have happened if I wanted my door approach to be just absolutely perfect, but I only talked to 3 people that day? I probably wouldn't have got in, right? So guys, rely on the system, rely on the numbers, and put pressure on those things and stop putting so much pressure on yourself, right? I think sometimes if we put so much pressure on ourselves as agents, it's actually a pride thing, right? Like we're too prideful in our ability that we think we know what we're doing when we don't know what we're doing. So put the pressure on the system, the tools, the resources that God's given us, the opportunities, right? Like he already knows what's going to happen today for you. Whether it's you're going to have a great day, maybe you get beat up a little bit, it doesn't matter. He already knows what's going to happen. Go out there in the confidence that just because you don't know what opportunity is waiting on the other side of those doors or on the other side of those phones, he knows. And if you're confident in that, just put pressure on that, right? It's all part of the system. So that's a key, guys, in becoming a confident agent. Next up, all right, rejection is redirection. It's not a bad thing, right? I've learned more off of the tough situations in this job than I have ever learned from the easy ones, right? That situation I was just telling you guys about. I mean, it was great. The lady never asked who I was. I went in, did the presentation. I couldn't help her. She already had coverage. She was sick at the time. Couldn't do nothing, right? But I didn't learn much from that other than, hey, if I knock on 9 doors, the 10th one should tell me yes. But I learned a lot the next week when people would give me objections and I couldn't overcome them. And then I would call Alicia, right? Because she's much better at this than I was, and say, hey, what do you say when they say this? And then go back out there. And then I say what she told me to say. And then boom, I'm in the door, right? Rejection, guys, is a chance for you to get better. Think about it like, you know, if you've never ran long distance before and you go out there to try to run 3 miles, well, maybe you hit 1 mile and like you're out. You're walking back to the house, right? You didn't fail. You just learned like 1 mile is where you can get to. Now you got to push to the 2nd mile and the 3rd mile. Like you kind of learned where you're at skill wise. That's what rejection is. You get told no at a door in a house or you can't close the deal. It's just telling you where your skill level is. Then you got to go back, regroup, right? Refuel up, learn what you got to do to get to the next level. And then you go back out there and beat the rejections, and you're getting redirected to getting to the top of being a confident agent. So, guys, you should welcome rejection. You should welcome hard clients, hard people, people that are difficult, right, to talk to. You should welcome that because it's going to make you better. If every single lead is easy, everybody would do sales. Not many people do sales, all right? Especially door-to-door life insurance sales or telesales. Not many people do that. That's why the carriers pay you so good, right? That's why you could make $1,000 off of one policy that you talk to for somebody in 1 hour, all right? Because it's tough, but you're only going to make it. You're only going to become confident if you have the right attitude towards rejection. You know, you show up, the lead, you got a lead that you just bought, should be a good lead. The person answers the door, right? And they're like, that person's not lived here for 20 years. You could either walk away from that thinking, these leads suck. You know, life sucks. It's too hard. Or you could walk away from that being like, man, how could I have flipped that into presenting to those people? What should I have said? Maybe I should have said, you know what, Mr. Jack, I'm so sorry. My sheet didn't get updated. This is 123 Main Street, though, right? It's the right address. Okay, perfect. I've got the final expense benefits for you. Let's go sit down at the table real quick. You could learn how to overcome that stuff, but only if you're looking at rejection as redirection and you've got the right attitude, all right, with it about becoming a confident agent. So that's key, guys. How are you viewing the tough times? How are you viewing the rejection? And are you viewing it like it's a learning curve, right? Or are you viewing it like, it's just so defeating that you can't overcome it, right? I think I like rejection because I think it's kind of God's way of testing me to see like, what's my patience level? What's my attitude like? Am I going to be grateful even in the hard times versus just the good times? And am I going to use it as a learning curve? Sometimes we get roadblocks in life because God wants to teach us something. All right. He can't just teach us if everything's perfect, right? Think about where you're at in life right now. Chances are you got to become the person you are really from some hard times in your life, not probably the best times, right? When everything's easy, you don't really grow at all. All right. But when there's some tough things that pop up, it really molds you into the person you're going to be. And that's the same for this career. Rejection's the tough time that's going to mold you into being the future leader that you need to be. So rejection is redirection. Okay. And then lastly, on today's call, before we wrap it up, is if you want to become a confident agent, daily habits will build that belief. Your daily habits will also take that belief away if they're not the right ones. So what do I mean by this? Guys, if you wake up every single day, you have the same amount of leads every single day going into the day. You do the same exact activity every single day. you're generally going to get the same result every single week, right? And I can tell you that from experience, looking back on my numbers. I know for a fact if I sat and presented to 12 to 15 people a week, like legit presentations, I'm sitting down at the table with them, then I'm closing half of those. So I'm probably going to get told no, like 6 or 7 times. The other 6 or 7 are going to tell me yes. I'll finish the week between like 7 and 8 applications, and I'll probably have like $5,000 to $7,000 of AP. And I could show you that for every single week for years, that those are exactly what the numbers said. That daily habit for me created that belief. When I was brand new, I didn't realize it. But after doing this for like a year, I looked back on my numbers. I'm like, wow, okay. I generally do like 8 door approaches a day. I get into 3 or 4 people. I'm presenting to 3 or 4 people a day, 12 to 15 a week. I'm closing half of those, and I'm writing 5 to 7K a week. I'm finishing the month at like a 15 to 25K month, right? Depending on the month and chargebacks or whatever. That's like religious. Like I can guarantee that if you do those numbers, if you do that activity and you don't hit those numbers, you're not really doing the activity and you're just telling me that you are. I promise you, if you do those numbers, like those are pretty much the results that you're going to get. Of course, you might throw in a bad week here or there, but generally that's what you're going to see. But those daily habits for me built that belief. Sometimes, guys, your confidence might just be struggling because you're thinking so much, but you're not acting enough, right? Guys, if you're not presenting to 12, 15 people a week, you're not even giving yourself a shot at being a successful agent. If you're only sitting down and talking to 3 or 4 people a week, I mean, what are you doing with your time, right? Like your daily habits are way off. So think about it. Your daily habits will build belief. They're going to build confidence for you. All right. It's just like I go back to this analogy all the time. I wish I had the picture to put on the screen, but it's a guy standing with a shovel, right? And he wants a hole dug in front of him. And he's looking at God, but he's not digging the hole. And the hole's not getting dug because he's just standing there with the shovel. His daily habits are off. What if he woke up every day with that shovel and scooped out, 3, 4 scoops of dirt and came back the next day and did it again? By the end of the week, he would have a hole. But if he's just standing there thinking about it, it's never going to happen. So he might be in disbelief that he doesn't have the confidence to make the hole happen. But really what it comes down to is he's just not doing the activity he needs to do to dig the hole in the first place. So guys, daily habits will build belief. They will build your confidence up, and you have to be religious about them. If your daily habits waver, one day you go out, one day you get on the phone, start dialing people at 12 o'clock. The next day it's 9 o'clock. The next day it's 2 o'clock. If you don't leave your house to go door knock until 10 a.m. or the next day it's 12, whatever it is, you're hurting your confidence every single day. Guys, this job is amazing for what it can provide for you and your family, from freedom, your schedule, the income that you can make, the people that you can help. But check it out. Those things only happen if you do the boring thing every single day, which is wake up, leave your house at the same time, sit with the same amount of people, buy the same amount of leads every single day, every single week. Every week you're presenting to the same amount of people, you're going to close the same amount, right? So it's just the success is found in doing the boring stuff that most people overthink to the point that they don't actually do the boring stuff. They just thinking about it. So daily habits build belief. That would be my biggest tip for you guys. If you want to become a successful agent, if you want to be confident and you want to actually see results, right? You got to look at your daily habits. I promise you, if you fix those, everything else will fix itself. So that's all I got for you guys on today's call. We are off to a phenomenal week so far coming in here this Wednesday morning. I want you guys to go to the WhatsApp chat, drop where you're at in terms of production so far for this week, and let's keep running hard And then we will be back here on Friday. Appreciate you guys for tuning in.